Today's video is brought to you by Fiverr, connecting you with freelancers all over the world to help build your brand. They've got logo designers, special effects artists, voiceover talent, website developers, and so much more. So go ahead and click that link down in the description to check out my curated store for my most recent recommendations on top Fiverr sellers. And the video starts now. I've been thinking a lot lately about my voice. More specifically, I've been thinking about my voice on YouTube. Who is Jesse Driftwood? Where am I going with? What do I have to offer? What's the purpose? And why should anyone care? See, the more I think about this, the more this theme keeps coming up, which is that YouTube isn't for filmmakers. Now, obviously, filmmakers are free to post whatever they want on YouTube, but that's kind of the point. YouTube is for everyone. It's for anyone who's got a hobby or an idea or even just a perspective on the world. Take James Hoffman, for example. He is a world champion barista who uses YouTube as a medium to share coffee recipes and overall tips and techniques for coffee making. Or Scotty Kilmer, who's basically an old mechanic dude who yells at a webcam information about cars. Over the years, almost all of my favorite videos and content creators haven't been filmmakers making pretty things. It's been regular people using video as a means to share their passions, because YouTube isn't for filmmakers. A little over 3 years ago now, I was riding a bus from somewhere to somewhere else. That's what buses do. And I was writing notes. I was journaling. I used to do that. And I was writing down my ideas for starting a YouTube channel because I had gotten so burnt out on the business side of my video making, on shooting weddings and events and commercials and Kickstarters and all that kind of stuff, that I actually lost my love for filmmaking and video in the process. I started thinking to myself, what could I do that was video and it was just for me? And it seemed like, as someone who loved watching YouTube, starting a YouTube channel was the best option. But the thing is, I didn't know what I wanted to put on YouTube. I didn't know what my voice was going to be. I didn't know what my angle was going to be. And then I found myself getting stuck in that indecision, in that period of not knowing what I wanted to do. And so I just did nothing. That was until Kevin came along. Kevin is one of my best friends. He's a pastor, an author, he's a running buddy, and for the past 3 years, he's also been a YouTuber. See, right around that time that I was journaling and planning my ideas for what a YouTube video could be, Kevin approached me with this idea. He said he wanted to make videos for specific holidays and just release them with a sort of story, something that he'd been writing, but he wanted my help with the visual aspects of it. And right away I was like, yes, 100%. I've been looking for something like this, specifically something on YouTube. And today, as someone who's like a relatively successful YouTuber, I look back on that moment and on those videos as the catalyst for getting me to where I am today. That was the shift that I needed that took me from complacency in my work and in video creation and to really fall in love with it all over again. And so, considering Christmas is fast approaching, I thought I would share one of my favorite videos that we made together. After we watched that video, I want to share some reflections on just why that whole process was so important to me and why I think it might be important to you. Here's the video.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm gonna touch this. It was really nastier than I thought it was gonna be.
I'm not sure of it. are how I'd like to put into words the night we shared together. But I know there's hurt, like when you said that to walk alone was a scary thing to do, or how I failed to even lay one out on you. Oh, believe me, I wanted to. Did you want me to?
What was the first thing you ever really, really wanted? I remember what it was. For me, it was Nintendo 64. 1996, 20 years ago, I was 10 years old, and there was this game shop down the street from my house, and they imported a Nintendo 64 from Japan months before we got it here. I remember touching the controller and looking at Mario 64 and controlling him and bouncing around, and I just remember thinking, I have to have this. I wanted it in the way that only a 10-year-old can want something. You want it so bad, you have so much free time to think about it, and you have zero control over whether you get it or not. So I ran to my parents and I said, please can I have an N64? Please can I have an N64? And they told me that if I saved all my birthday money from October, and I did chores around the house, and I saved all that money, and I gave them that money before Christmas, I might get a Nintendo 64. And that was good enough for me. I went for it. And Christmas morning, I rushed downstairs, I ripped it open, and there it was. Now here's the thing. I don't wait for anything anymore. I mean, there might be like a movie I'm waiting for or a book I want to read, but I'm not waiting because there's so much for me to consume all the time, and I'm busy and my life is more full, and I've got this on me all the time, this little I have this for safety. This stops me from waiting even when I'm just waiting for a coffee, when I'm waiting for someone in the car, when I sit down to poop. Out comes this phone, and in it is every opinion I could ever need, pictures and stories and endless stuff to busy me up so that I don't have to wait for anything. There's this story in the Old Testament about a prophet named Elijah, and Elijah's on the run. People have been trying to kill him, and so he really needs to hear from God. So Elijah is told to go up on this mountain where he's going to meet God. Elijah gets to the top, and immediately there's this massive windstorm, and it blows all the trees over and kicks up all the dust. But the text tells us that God was not in the windstorm. Up next, there's this earthquake. It shakes the land, and boulders come falling down, and everything cracks apart. But God is not in the earthquake. Finally, there's this fire that breaks out. It swallows up the top of the mountain in flames, this massive firestorm. But the text says God is not in the firestorm. And after all of this, there's nothing. The text says there's the sound of sheer silence. And God is in the silence. What aren't we hearing? Because we never stop for a moment to be silent or even to be bored. There's this professor in Manchester, her name is Dr. Sandy Mann. She's written a book called The Upside of Downtime. And in it, she did a study with a group of people. Half of them did really boring activities before the study, and the other half of them lived their normal life and came in for the study. They asked the group to look at a cup. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm gonna touch this. They gave them a cup. They gave them a cup, and you know what a cup looks like. I don't need a freaking prop. They gave them a normal cup, and they asked them, what could you do with this cup? The one group just gave some normal answers, and they gave a few answers, but the group, this is interesting, the group that was bored before doing the test, they came up with not only more options of what you could do with a cup, but more creative options. Not just so you could put stuff in it, but it could be earrings, it could be a little drum, you could wear it like a Madonna bra. They came up with more creative options because they had time for stillness and boredom beforehand. There's this thing called the church calendar, and you can take part in it whether you're religious or not. But it was a gift given to us to help break up the year, to break up that feeling that every day is just like the day that came before it. And we are entering into a season called Advent, an intentional time of waiting, of anticipating, of boredom. It's a time where you prepare yourself for Christmas day. And I know right now some of you are saying, ooh, silence and preparing myself. That's adorable, Kevin. But I've got assignments, kids, work to do, Christmas shopping. I don't have time right now for waiting and stillness and silence. But what if we could make some intentional times of waiting without actually changing our schedule at all? What if we just tried to reclaim the time that we scroll, where you want to reach for your phone? Because I love Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, and Snapchat like the kids like. A few minutes in the car while you're waiting for a friend. What if when you ordered a coffee, you just looked around for a few minutes? What if when you sat down to poop, you just pooped and allowed yourself to just not do anything for a minute, to look around, to be observant, to catch your breath? And that might seem like nothing at all, but in a culture as busy and overproductive as ours, it may be the first shift in something much bigger.
I'm not sure of it.
You may find yourself noticing things you haven't noticed before. You may find yourself engaging with people that you normally wouldn't engage with. You may find yourself hearing fresh words in the silence. You may find yourself being filled with that anticipation that a 10-year-old has for something good at Christmas. So there's the challenge. About a month of no passive scrolling. Little moments of silence and waiting. Are you in? Happy Advent. Hey, thanks for watching this. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jesse.
We're happy to make these movies.
There are a few things that I think really made them special and really important for how I view work and how I view video creation. The first is, there was an obvious deadline. Like, Christmas is coming, make the Christmas video. There's no sense in making the Christmas video in January. But also, Kevin and I both had full-time jobs. We couldn't spend a lot of time doing this. So all the videos that we were making were essentially like planned, shot, and edited, and then posted online on the same day. Now, what that taught me was to just be less precious about my work. It taught me that it was okay for there to be little hiccups, for there to be bumps and who's your daddy? It's okay for there to be mistakes in the video. It didn't all have to be perfect because the idea, the story, the content came first. It was also one of my first times really collaborating on a video project. So much of what I did was just me, a computer, but this was sitting together, talking through ideas, thinking about how we could show that in a visual manner. This video in particular, the story, the concept came from Kevin, the visuals came from me, but we also worked with our friend Jared to make our first stop motion animation. My friend Travis had made the music and let us use that. So it was this really cool period for me where we could kind of explore visual storytelling in a way that I hadn't before, because on YouTube, there really aren't any rules. There are some rules, but it has to be a certain style or a certain length or a certain tone. We could just see if we liked it, and if we didn't, do better next time. Now, finally, what I think was most important in all this for me was that it was the spark that helped me move forward. I do this thing where I'm not very good at planning for a video, but as soon as I get started, things just evolve and grow, and I start getting ideas, and someone says something and I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if, and we kind of follow these rabbit holes on and on and on and on. See, once you get started, it's easy to find your footing. You find step number one and you can figure out, okay, I know the next step, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, boom, you've uploaded. Those first videos I made with Kevin, I look at as the first step in my career as becoming an online video maker. 3 years later, here I am, things are going reasonably well. It's not as easy as just do it, and eventually it'll all work out. It's more complicated than that. But you do need to just do it to find out if it's ever gonna work out. Do I think I found my voice yet? Do I think I know exactly what I want to contribute to this world of internet video? No, not exactly. But I'm happy to just keep pushing forward and try and figure this all out along the way. I'm no longer waiting before I have all the skills before I put something out there. I'm gonna put the idea first. And on that note, today's video is brought to you by Fiverr. Fiverr is a global marketplace of freelancers and creatives just waiting to help bring your next idea to life. Whether you're looking for a new logo or website, Fiverr has thousands of creatives all over the world that specialize in the fields that you need to help build your brand. Maybe you need someone to add some CGI explosions into your next video project. Or if you're just looking for someone who specializes in SEO marketing so that people can actually find your explosive videos. Fiverr has everything you need to get started. So make sure you check out that link down in the description to check out my curated storefront for my personal favorite creators on the site. This is your chance. This is the part where I'm not talking anymore because you're clicking the video. I'm hoping you'll click the link and cut off my talking. Do you want me to just keep talking? I'll keep talking. Did you click it?